In this room, who wants to see crimes against animals globally banned? Raise your hand. I mean, all the most serious atrocities you can think of, right? And that are avoidable because alternatives to animal products and methods exist and are available. So, I think we are all here for that, right? We are here to find innovative solutions for a better legal future for animals. And that's why here today we will discuss and maybe also think of some actions we can put in place for this better future for animals. It's now well acknowledged that the law duty is to protect animals as sentient beings. That is why we could see since the last 2 centuries a significant expanding worldwide of animal cruelty and animal welfare laws. To date, there is 2/3 of the world countries having these type of laws, and still 1/3 of the countries not having even a basic legal protection of animals as individuals. Overall, the positive point is that animal law is evolving toward an increasing protection of animals. This can be observed with the strengthening and reinforcement of the regulations for animal welfare, the increasing penalties, that is quite constant increase of penalties for cruelty towards animals, some bans adopted for animals, and also constitutional provisions that we can see around the world. And since the last 10 years, some court decisions affording first animal rights for great mammals, mainly in some countries in South America and in the Indian region. However, this protection remains really limited when we look at the global picture. It's limited in its scope because it concerns only certain countries, as we saw, certain animals, certain species, certain activities, certain practices, with still many exemptions of cruelty, allowing cruel acts to continue, and some enforcement issues, of course, that are present everywhere in the world, and more or less in every country. And worst is the dreadful reality that animal crimes, the most animal crimes, remain legal. And this is worldwide, and this is everywhere. Why? Because when we look at the numbers of animals killed every year, this is all from scientific sources. You can find them online, and they are unfortunately not overestimated. When we talk just of liminal animals living in our surroundings, so stray dogs and cats, so-called pest animals, it's at least 50 million of them killed every year. When we think of lab animals, for scientific research and testing, it's at least 150 million. For wild animals, it's at least, very least, it's 400 million of animals. Knowing that it's at least 100 million sharks killed every year, and as we know, the rate of its extinction is increased by 1,000 times the natural rate because of human activities, and more than 25% of wildlife species are endangered because of human activities. As for farm animals, well, it's a top highest majority with at least 200 billion of animals killed every year, only for food. It's so huge, these numbers are just so crazy that it's quite impossible to conceive for our human brain. But let me try just to give you an idea of what it represents. that would be probably a big crime against humanity, right? And that's the reality for animals. So the reality is that animals are the victims of the most massive crimes on Earth today. And we can call that a zoocide. By analogy, it's a genocide for humans and the ecocide for the environment. A very long time ago, Aristotle already said that. At its best, man is the noblest of all animals, but separated from law, understood as natural law, and justice, it is the worst. So, do we need a paradigm shift toward a new world of justice for all animals? That's what I am advocating to here today. Yes, we need this paradigm shift, because even if we saw this evolution of the law and it's still continuing, and that's great, this is not enough to question the very crimes that are still ongoing everywhere in the world to so many animals. So this is very schematically and simply the trend of animal exploitation, right? And this is despite the animal law evolution. So if we want to stop this from happening, we need to advocate now for an abolition. The word is strong, but this is what we need if we want to stop that. And this is the only way to reverse this trend. I know the very common counter-argument that this sounds unrealistic or maybe too utopian to ask for this now. But you know what? The first lawyers who were advocating for slavery abolition were also called foolish, utopian, or not realistic people, because there was economical arguments at stake. And there was the same arguments that they were inferior in serving others. So here, today, as far as we don't question the very use and abuses of animals, we can do some progress. Yes, it can improve the daily lives of some animals, but this is not questioning the most important point of what we do with them. Is it right? This is my question for you here today. And I know you're mostly very convinced about that. But as animal lawyers, my point is to say that our mission is to act far for animals because they deserve it and they need us to be their voices because they cannot defend them by themselves. And we need to ask for the legal recognition of their most fundamental rights to live, to be free, and to be well treated. And to ban all forms of crimes. How? Well, we can follow what has been done for humans so far. When we look at the very definition of crimes against humanity under the Article 7 of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, we see that they concern this terrific list. And this list is actually really similar for animals because they are subjected to murders, with the mass killings and slaughters. They are subjected to extermination, the species extinction. They are subjected to enslavement, first forced work, painful training methods, etc. They are subjected to deportation with live transports in very long distance and terrific conditions. By the way, congratulations to the UK for having banned these terrific live exports. Imprisonment, so much animals put in cages and captivity. torture, many forms of torture that are still legal today. Mutilations, current live mutilation banalized in factory farming, the vivisections in labs, the blood shows that still exist in many countries, and of course, some kind of sexual violences, with the forced reproduction of farmed animals, and the zoophilia, which is still authorized in some countries in the world. And of course, we can think of other inhumane acts of similar character. And this is against innocent individuals, like crimes against humanity, widely or systematic attacked as animals are today. So, can we think or say that there are crimes against animality? Well, I'm convinced about that myself. Because they are the worst crimes committed to animals on a massive and worldwide way. When we look at international criminal law and animals, what we see is a big gap, because they are totally absent. There's no animal protection in international criminal law today. When we look especially at the International Criminal Court, the ICC, so crimes against humanity are addressed since Rome Statute in force since 2002. Crimes against environment are now under consideration since the recent consultation by Prosecutor Khan, and if this consultation succeeds, crimes against environment will become included in the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. What about crimes against animality? Well, for me and for us who join this movement, this is the next step to address without waiting. It's now. We need to address it today if we want crimes against animality to be banned one day. So we have started this work. How? Well, with a group of international animal and criminal law experts from the 5 continents. With partnering NGOs who are working for animals worldwide. And we are also acting at a supranational level, but also at national level, everywhere in the world. Because international law is made by sovereign states. And not only Occidental states, but all states, even the global south and developing countries and emerging countries, also have one voice. Every country has one voice. That's why we need to cooperate with everyone on this massive and major and global issue of animal crimes. And we also participate to existing initiatives, like the one led by Compassion in World Farming to ban factory farming globally. And if you didn't sign this petition, I do invite you today to go to end it and sign the petition, because we are almost there. And so we need a bit more support to bring this initiative to the policymakers. So that's our work at World Animal Justice, to defend animal rights and to end animal crimes. And I invite you to get in touch with me if you want more information or if you want to join this movement. And I'm really glad here today to have some experts in this room. And thank you very much also for your great work for animals. Thank you.